maternity leave from the podcast.
From literally, welcome back to from our maternity leave. But really, hello and welcome back. This is much later that we're trying to record a new podcast. Our goal was to start at the beginning of the year. But we took a maternity leave, like Chris said. We've been on maternity leave. So we are officially getting back into podcasting. Chris has been very busy keeping Apex alive, and I've been busy keeping a baby alive. So
both equally important.
Yes. But nonetheless, welcome back to the Beyond the Coach podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kelsey Nanini.
And I'm Chris Sweet.
And we're just going to do like a fun catch up. We were talking about this just before we started the podcast. And I was like, let's just we're doing a fun catch up today. And Chris is like, that's good. Cause I don't want to think. Like, we just want to like enjoy a little fun podcast as we're like getting back into really what is crazy on Spotify podcast. This will be season 2.
Season 2, baby. We know a lot more of what we're doing season 2 than we did season 1.
So much better. I mean, we're gonna have some new additions to the podcast, like just some more fun things as we are learning how to podcast. It only took a year, but we're there.
We can do a podcast in the chaos that was both of our lives in 2025. I think 2026 is about to be the best year yet.
Gonna be simple, easy, like nothing, just cake,
easy breezy.
Cover girl. But we just wanted to do a little catch-up podcast. And then I was talking to Chris a few weeks ago, and I was like, dude, I realized like I still have never shared my birth story. Like, I've never talked about it. I've never shared it on Instagram. Like, I never actually shared what conspired. Is that the right word?
Conspired? What conspired in the hospital room that...
Yeah. I'm not quite positive if that's the right word. Transpired. I think that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Some type of spiring. I never actually talked about it. So that's also what we'll talk about today. But Chris, we haven't podcasted since the end of November.
Mm-hmm.
Catch us up. Like, what's new in your life?
What's the 411? I feel like the 411 is that I feel like I'm planning things into 2027, and 2026 hasn't even happened. Like, yeah. I feel like that's life right now.
2027 just sounds so advanced.
Very advanced. I'm still not used to saying 2026 when I'm talking to people.
I also saw like this ad come up about the 2028 Olympics and entering like the raffle or whatever. And I was like, 2028, that's like in 4 years. And I was like, oh shit.
Nope. Yeah.
It's like 2.5 years away.
And it's going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah. And that was like when you were telling me, or when I was going through our Monday board and I was like looking at end dates for clients, and it was like 1 year date, 2027. And I was like, somebody fucked up. That's not a 1 year date. Then I was like, oh my God, they started in January. Like, that is a 1 year date. That's crazy. But
yes, very much.
You're planning your 2027.
Planning my 2027. We got a lot. We got 30 before 30. My birthday's in a few weeks. So like I've kind of been like holding off crossing things off my list because I personally am like a very competitive person who says that like I have to somehow be 29 now to cross the rest off. Like, I just have to give myself like less time.
Like, you have to just grind through a year.
I have to grind through a year. I gotta do something. So I will be 29 very soon, and then it will be my 30 before 30 push that I am doing. Other than that, I've just been here keeping Apex alive, and honestly, it's been pretty successful. I will say
you've been doing really great by yourself.
I feel like I am a pretty good business partner.
I will give you props for that. I mean, obviously you have help with like Megan and the team. Megan is a godsend. We would not survive without her.
No. And it's funny because I was traveling. Like, I still traveled a lot. We had a little bit of chaos in December for Christmas, but we won't talk about that.
We had a great Christmas together. We spent it together.
Yeah, it was great. And your mom got me a very cute little card. She made me feel very included. It was a
sweet lady.
Such a sweet woman. But yeah, I mean, holidays were fine. You know, I got to see my family at least for a little bit, and then January, I felt like the first half of January, I literally was out of town, or Kenneth was out of town for the first 3 weeks. So I very much like in January was kind of like, oh my God, I am sucking as a business partner because like I'm gone and I don't have I can't take sales calls how I want to. And then second half of January, I crushed it. February, we're doing great. I'm loving it. Apex is thriving. We're bringing in like honestly the most ideal clients that we have ever brought in. So I'm really happy with that. We just ran our scholarship and like I feel like last year you and I ran scholarship and we were like not like the happiest with it because we were like, we're not really getting the people that we want. But when you're starting
Not a
like
lot of signups either.
no, not a lot of signups either. It was honestly like my worst performing scholarship that I had like personally since it was our first one in business. But I remember being like pretty down last year about it because I'm a very like sales driven person. I want to hit numbers. I want to hit KPIs. And then I feel like for scholarship this year, we've made more signups, but with the signups that we've had, it's like 12 months and it's awesome. It's awesome to see just the people we're bringing in. And I feel like I'm going into 2026 feeling a lot more aligned with like who we're serving, what our vision is, what our game plan is. And so that gives me a lot of like peace going into, did I say 2027, 2026? A lot of peace going into,
you said
did
six.
I think I'm traumatized by the 7 that we were talking about.
I think so.
But I feel a lot more peace going into 2026. So not anything crazy in my life, but I'm sure it will pick up with travels and all the things. And Kelsey and I finally, I feel like we're a true household where we now have a calendar with our vacation time on a calendar to keep up
Last
with
year we were just like, oh, you're going to be gone? Okay, cool. I won't be. But and also to that point of like bringing in a lot more ideal people, we really like fought up until November.
Mhm.
Also, November was so chaotic. I don't know. Did we have a podcast to talk about the chaos that was November?
Well, we talked about our first fight, I think. It wasn't a fight. It was a tiff. It was a tizzy.
A tizzy. That was wild. But yeah, we kind of fought back and forth of like talking about our ideal client and like posting to that person. And then it's funny because as soon as we just like really like ripped off the Band-Aid, and I will say it was more so you because I really wasn't posting in December. I wasn't posting in even January. It was more so like fun stuff about motherhood and all that. And I still will post to that. But when I kind of went all in on like, hey, we coach coaches, like we are the coaches for coaches and like mentorship, it was crazy because even the people who weren't signing up for like the coach side and the coach aspect still were coming in because it is like we do want to be like that high level program. And it was really just awesome to watch. So I think if you're listening to this and you are a coach, it's like if you're worried about posting to your ideal client thinking it's not going to work out or initially it is going to be a little slower, it probably will be, but do it because it really it will pay off for you when you're actually posting to people you want to work with versus just like accepting anyone and everything.
Yeah, I think we had a very big line in the sand moment in November specifically, which was the worst time to have a line in the sand moment.
The worst time.
We were both crashing out. But I think it was 100% necessary and needed because then, yeah, I feel like way more clear. And I think it'd be cool to do an episode on ideal client stuff and like talking about that and like who you kind of following your gut a little bit. And like once you get to a certain point, you kind of outgrow a past version. But what's really funny is, yeah, the people we are signing, like I signed last night a lifestyle client that's going to go to Devon, and she's not a coach at all, but she's like a high level individual. And it's funny when you switch your niche or really 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 niche, you think, oh, no one's going to want to work with us that isn't this, or they're going to feel left out. But surprisingly, we've had just like a great continuous flow of just some of those people coming in that we're like wanting to serve because they're so great. So yeah. And then the only other update is my cut. I'm in a cut. We're on week two, but I'm counting it as week 1 because I had a stomach bug last week and it really just messed everything.
You just were cutting in a different way last week.
It was a forced cut, that's for sure. It was against my will, but I am in a cut for at least the next like 8 to 10 weeks, and then just full on performance the rest of the year. So that's
for Machu Picchu.
Yep, I'm starting a series on my Instagram where I am vlogging every hike that I do in preparation for Machu Picchu. So,
oh my gosh, fun.
Come take a peek.
We'll have to for your birthday podcast, like the week of your birthday, which is, I guess, next week. We should do like a update to your 30 for 30 because there'll be like 1 year left.
Yes, I can list them out. I have had thoughts of adjusting some of the things too, so making them
we
harder,
should
actually.
Update now that like we could do an update to our lists. Mine, I have not checked off one thing. I will baby. This year. I did. I don't think, was that on my,
I don't
I
think it
don't know
was
if it was
on
on
your
my list.
list, but it was a very significant milestone that I think counts.
Yes, it was. Also, I don't know what just happened, but
I don't know.
my entire thing just crashed out, but you're back. So that's,
Cool.
I don't, everything's,
But
um,
but yes, we can do a little looking what the list is looking like.
yeah, we'll do an update list. But,
Yeah. But enough about me because I feel like you've got the bigger updates. I've just been
updates.
chilling here.
The past 2 months have been a real whirlwind, of just all the things. I guess the last time we podcasted, which I don't think that the last podcast actually got posted. Maybe it did. I don't know. It's pretty bad. Like I said, last 2 months have been a whirlwind.
You get a pass. You were pregnant.
Yeah, at 38, my 38-week appointment, they found high blood pressure and they were like, "Hey, like, are you stressed at all?" And I'm like, "Nah, cool as a cucumber." I went into the appointment thinking like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a baby this week," and I think
Mhm.
that was part because it was the week after of Thanksgiving, and I was like, "I'm
Mhm.
gonna have a child at Thanksgiving." I like had a onesie all picked out. I'm like, "Let's get this baby out of here."
You were also ready to have a glass of
I
wine.
was so ready to have a glass of wine at Thanksgiving, and I did not get that. And then Thanksgiving was all the things, anyways. It was really crazy. Ended up happening, and basically at my 38-week appointment, they were like, "You have high blood pressure," and I was like, "What?" And it just happened that week because I was at the point where I was having weekly, like it was normal in week 37, week 38 hit, high blood pressure. And so they were like, "Okay, let's take it again." We took it again. It was still high. And they were like, "Okay, monitor everything for the next week as long as you're feeling cool. At your next appointment, we'll figure stuff out." 39-week appointment, they were like, "It's still high." And I was like, "Okay." So, like, throughout the week, I was monitoring that at home blood pressure monitor, but it wasn't really like as accurate. And it was funny because I was like, "Kaden, I don't think that medical assistant knew what they were doing. Like, I don't think they took it right." And
You're
then
like,
she
it
came in and
couldn't be me. It
yeah,
couldn't.
a separate medical assistant came in and it was still high. So I was like, "Shit." Don't know how that happened. Basically, I just learned it's kind of like a normal thing in pregnancy and that's what happened. So it wasn't full on preeclampsia because I didn't have enough protein in my urine for it to be that. But at the 39-week appointment, she's like, "So, like, do you want to just like get this baby out?" And I had a very specific birth plan that I had written out at like 35 weeks. Like I had it down. I was like, "I'm not doing medication. I don't want Pitocin. I don't want an epidural. I want to be able to freely move the whole time throughout like labor. I want everything to happen naturally." And I was very tied to it. I was like, "This is it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to push a baby out and it's going to be all natural. No painkillers, nothing, anything. It's going to be great."
More power to you.
Yeah. It- so ended up the 39-week appointment was on a Tuesday. She's like, "Do you want to just get this baby out?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't really want to be induced." And she's like, "Well, your blood pressure's not getting better. And I think your body is pretty stubborn. So it's either you would get induced at 39 weeks or you're probably going to end up getting induced at 41 weeks anyway." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'd rather not wait then. Like, let's just do this thing." And I thought I would get induced that day, but we had to obviously wait for a room to open at the hospital. So we ended up getting the call, and that was on 12/2. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we could have a baby on 1/2/3. How cool is that?" Didn't happen that way because I
Deacon
got
had
the
other
call. Yeah,
plans.
Deacon was just staying in there. Finally, a room opened. They called us at like 3:45 a.m. on the 4th on Thursday. So we got up, we got ready. We had to make sure like I don't think we took Burrow to daycare that day. We took him we had someone take him on Friday, I think. I don't know. So basically got to the hospital around like 4:40. They like do all the check-in process and then they started me on Cytotec, which is basically I was not dilated at all. Deacon literally quite literally did not want to come out. So I had to take Cytotec, ripens your cervix. And you basically are like on it for 2 hours where you're just laying down. You're off of it for an hour where they try to see what's happening, if anything's happening, but you're still laying there. And then you're free for an hour. And then you're like, you can walk around and you can do all the things. We did laps around the hospital. It was great. And then you restart it. And I basically did, that's 4 hours. So I think I did 6 rounds of it. The whole day, Thursday, into Friday. And like, they're like, you're still only, and also, by the way, cervical checks are horrible. And I had to get them because they had to know if I was ripening. And they just, so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. It just does not feel good. And so then finally, like 4:40 a.m. on Friday, I'm like, okay, well, something is bound to happen. You know, things are gonna happen. So I'm like at the mirror, I'm like putting up my hair, I'm like getting ready. I'm like, I'm gonna give birth today. And all of a sudden,
Get
like,
ready
feel
with
something.
me to push out a baby.
That's something that Kate and I have been joking about this whole time. It's like, come change my baby's diaper with me. Come change my baby's blowout. Because it's just such a dramatic, like, that whole thing. It's social media is wild. Yeah, I'm like putting it in my hair and I feel something just drop. I'm like, did I just pee myself? I'm like, oh my God, Kate, my water broke on its own. They didn't have to break it. And I was like, holy shit, this is happening. They like come in and they're like, you're still only dilated to a 2. I'm like, okay, sick.
I think that was like the
24
worst
hours.
part because obviously like I was in communication with you and like I felt like I was at least getting some updates here and there. Even Kaden at one point texted me like gave me an update.
He's like, she's dying.
You know, it's fine. But every time you would update me and be like, yeah, I'm only 2 centimeters, like I think I internally died for you.
My God. Like, I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, we've been at this for a while now. I'm like hooked up to all this shit and like we're still only there. And so they're like, all right,
we didn't make it this far just to make it this far. Come on.
And I started learning about failed inductions. Like our night nurse from Thursday into Friday said that she had one. And they basically induce you and then they send you home. And I was like, that's a nightmare. You're telling me you just pump me with all this Cytotec and shit and then I just go home? No. So then she's like, okay, well, the night nurse, she's like, let's give it until like an hour and see if anything happens naturally. Otherwise, we'll have to start you on another Cytotec and Pitocin. Like, so that was my goal, was to put off Pitocin as long as possible. I'd heard about Pitocin contractions because it's basically oxytocin. So it's like promoting oxytocin for you to go into labor. And I was like, well, I don't want that for as long as possible. Then, like, I think 5:30 a.m. came and they were like, we had to start you on Pitocin. And I was like, so they start you on the lowest dose. Like, they were like, we're just going to pulse this really slow. I was still on Cytotec at this point, but I don't remember when I finally got off of it. They kept pumping the Pitocin like a little more rapidly and aggressively because they were like, still things aren't really moving along. So we need to like really boost this. And by 10 a.m., no, 9, it was like 9 to 9:30, I was having like major contractions. Like the point where I felt them, I was like, this baby is going to be out by 1 p.m. I was like convinced because they were so painful. And I'm like doing my breath work that like our pelvic floor therapist told me about. And I'm like screaming bloody murder. And I was dilated at a 4.
Did it feel like the movies? Like, you know, when the movies are showing you, like, obviously probably not that dramatic, but like screaming, like.
Well, yeah, like, yes, but that's always when they're giving birth. And birth, that was like, for me at least, I'm sure unmedicated, it's horrible, but like for me, that was the easy part, was actually the pushing. But like,
we'll get to the finale.
Oh my God. Horrible. I'm like screaming and the nurse comes in and like throughout this time the nurse is like, are you sure you don't want to do an epidural? Like from like when she started shift, which was kind of cool because Friday and Thursday we actually had the same day nurse, just by chance. And the first day she just like was kind of just there. Like she wasn't really like not friendly, but whatever. By Friday I was like, I love her. She was awesome. She was actually due December 27th. So like very close to us. They're close together. So then she's like, you don't have to be brave. Like if you need the epidural, it's fine. She's like, you're not any less like, you know, strong by not having it. And I was like, I know, like I told her the story of why I didn't want it. One of my best friends used to work in like stroke victims. She used to work with stroke victims as a physical therapist, and she had a mom who had had a failed epidural that basically like paralyzed her. And that was always my fear. I was like, ever since she told me that in like, all right, after college. So like for 10, almost, whatever, 8 years, I've been like terrified of an epidural. And finally, like 9:30, she's like, hey, so your blood pressure has been fine up until like the past 30 minutes. And like, it's not necessarily like your baby isn't in distress yet, but like if you keep trying to brave this out, baby could be in distress because of your high blood pressure going into this. Do you want to do the epidural? She's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if I were you, I would do it. And I'm like just questioning my life. I'm like, this really does fucking hurt so bad. And she's like educating me on it, which I actually really appreciated. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah. I'm like, if it's hurting my baby, then yes, like that is the main thing. Like I can't be proud. I have to like, if it's hurting him, well, at the time I didn't know what it was, but everyone kept saying him. She was like, he's not distressed yet. And I was like, and she's like, it's funny because I thought you guys for some reason told me it was a boy, but then I remembered it wasn't. And everyone, all the nurses, anyways, I'll get to that part. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So 30 minutes later, the anesthesiologist comes in and I look at Kaden and I'm like, do not look at that needle. Like, don't look at the needle. Don't look at it. Just look at me. Because if you see it going in my back, you're going to freak out. And they obviously don't let me see it because they're behind me. The worst part, she's like, okay, I'm going to put it in. You're going to feel some pressure, but like you can't move. And I'm like hunched over. She's like
while
finding
having, like contractions, basically.
Yeah, while having like luckily I didn't have I'm like, I don't even know what you would do at a contraction if it's like going in as the needle's going in. Like, yeah. Obviously they're monitoring contractions, but like there's no way of knowing if. So I like, she gets it in and she goes, you're going to feel some pressure. Don't move. I'm like, okay. And I feel it. And I know I didn't flinch that much, but I was like, fuck, I can't move. But it felt so weird. It wasn't hurt. It was pressure. Yeah. Like, it's like when your ears, I could equate it to like your ears getting plugged on a plane, but then it's like also kind of painful. And then she was done. And she's like, you should start like noticing the effects within the next 30 minutes. I went like, me and Kaden will always joke about this. He's like, you went from screaming bloody murder. Like I didn't know how to help you. And he like held my hand at the point when we put the epidural. And that was like one of the only times he held my hand with contractions. He's like, you went from like breaking my hand, screaming bloody murder to I look at him as soon as the epidural hits. I'm like, you want to watch a movie? He's like, what just happened? And so I learned throughout my birth was like, it's a birth. Someone said it wasn't a birth plan. They're like, it's a birth outline, or I forget what they said it was, but it was like the perfect way to say it. It was like, it's like a birth rough draft, and like you have to be willing to change the plan. And I know obviously everyone has different opinions. Like I was never the person who was like, I'm going to have a water bath. More power to you. The people that are in water, for whatever reason, it weirded me out because something people don't tell you, which I will tell you this. Let me be the one to tell you. I'm going to tell everyone who hasn't had a baby, when your water breaks, it doesn't just break, it continues to break. No one told me that. I'm like, well, how is this not something that every pregnant woman is telling another pregnant woman? Like, if you've given birth, everyone should know this. When your water breaks, it's not one time. It just, you continue to leak for hours. It's the weirdest thing. And like, I would go to the bathroom and I'd be like, Kaden, I need you to get me a ball of toilet paper. Like, I have to like, yeah, TMI, I have to hold some toilet paper there to get to the bathroom that was 10 feet away. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. No one tells you that. But in a bath, I'm like, that, I don't know, it just weirds me out. And then the husband goes in, I'm like, then there's mucus, whatever, more power to you. However you want to do your birth, I do not judge any longer. Before I was like, I'm so strong, I'm not doing an epidural. I told Kaden, I'm like, when I go for the next baby, I'm ordering the epidural ahead of time. I'm pre-ordering. Like, I have it ready for me. Unless I get rushed there, like, and I'm in labor, like I'm dilated to an 8, have it ready. Mm-hmm. Because it was magical. Like, I have a higher pain tolerance. I would consider myself to have a high pain tolerance. Like, I didn't feel any contractions up until pretty much like 8:30. So I went through like 4 hours of contractions, not feeling them,
Mhm.
which was great until they got really painful. And I was like, this sucks. So I had them and we'd see them like huge spikes on the monitor of like having these contractions. And Caden's like, did you feel that? I'm like, didn't feel a thing. We're just watching a movie. I think we watched Daddy's Home too. And then we watched The Other Guys.
Mhm.
And it was just funny. Like, I don't know. I had just was chilling. Uh, and so yeah, things didn't really escalate as quickly as I thought they would. I got the epidural at 10, and by 5:30, I'm like, is anything happening? Like, am I gonna have a child? They're like, you're at a 7 at 5:30. I'm like, what? And then finally, or no, maybe 5:30, I was at like a 9, and I was like, oh, it's happening, it's happening. And they were the 9. I got to a 9, and it was still 2 hours before I actually had a baby. Like, that was the craziest thing. I was like, what? And I remember at 6, no, 5:30, that's when the doctor came in. She's like, so I have to go in for a C-section. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm dilated at a 9, honey. I'm about to have this baby. And Caden's like, nah, she probably knows more than you do. And I like wasn't supposed to eat on the epidural. That's also the worst part, is they don't let you eat,
Mhm.
because if they have to put you under for a C-section, and I'm like, I have to eat. I like asked the nurse, I'm like, I will get nauseous. Like, if I don't have food, I'm not the person who's like, if I eat, I get nauseous. I'm the person like, if I don't eat, I will be nauseous. So like, I'm like snacking, and I'm like, let's just manifest that I'm not gonna be going into a C-section. I still ended up in labor, actually getting sick, or in like pushes.
Mhm.
Anyways, she comes back in at like 6:15. She's like, you ready to have a baby? Like, let's push. And I'm like, let's do it. Okay. Finally. Like, Jesus Christ, this has been forever. And so I'm pushing, and she's like, oh, this is gonna be so quick. We were like joking with the nurse that the nurse had a date, which she didn't. She's like, don't worry, Jordan, you're gonna be able to make it for your date tonight. She's like, I don't have a date. And then I joked, I was like, my brother's like single. He lives in Tempe too. If you like want to hang out with him, he's at grass clippings. He's working. But anyways, it was nice because my OB kept joking around. I've already referred Chris to her because she's amazing. I like, want to be friends with her. And she just like throughout it made me feel so calm. She would ask us about like TV shows we're watching or like movies, and like just made me feel really calm, because pushing is really exhausting, even though I couldn't feel them, which was nice. Like on the epidural, I didn't feel anything. So it wasn't painful. It's just like you're literally like pushing down a child to like come out of you. And it's exhausting because they do like 3 10-second pushes, basically, is how they did it with me. And then you'd take a break while the contraction isn't going. And I feel like in the beginning, she's like, I can see I can see the baby's head. I can see the baby's head. And I'm like, awesome. Then it just, nothing happened. I'm like, oh my God, I like can't keep doing this. I only ended up pushing for an hour, and then he came out. But like on one of the last pushes, I got sick. Like I threw up in a bag, threw up a couple different times. And I'm like, this is not fun, because I was just nauseous.
As you're trying
Um,
to like get excited to like welcome your child to the world.
yeah. She's like, I can see their head. And then like someone would say something funny, and I'd laugh. And the baby would like start to go down further when I'd laugh. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's so interesting. So like, I don't know if, well, now I know it's a he. I don't know if he was like hearing the laughs and he's like, oh, cool. Like Earth's
Let me
maybe
crawl my
isn't
way
so
out
bad.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And came out, and it was really cool, actually. She was like, so what we're going to do when the baby comes out, because you guys don't know the gender, is I'm going to cover the baby in a towel, lay him on your chest, so you could just have like a couple minutes with him or
Mhm.
with it. And I forget, I don't know if she was like stitching me while that was happening. I don't really know. Honestly, it was all like that part's a blur. I have no idea what was going on. A nurse is like recording it, and I thought that Deacon was a girl. I was like so convinced, because he had these crazy eyelashes, like up to my eyebrows. I swear, like they were the craziest things, like the Who's in
Mhm.
Grinch. That's what his eyelashes were like. And I was like, this is a girl. Like this is Sienna right here. Oh, name drop. If I ever have a girl, that's the girl's name. And I was like, it's a girl for sure, 100%. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a girl. And then she takes the towel off, and like these balls just fall, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a boy! Which like we both didn't care, but like kind of wanted a boy first. And all the nurses thought it was really cool though, because we had a bunch of different nurses that kind of helped out throughout the day. We had like one that was like interning, but it was like an externship or something. She came back. Other nurses were back. Like they were all ready to see like what Baby Nanini was, and everyone thought it was a boy. Was a boy. We actually decided on his name on our Thursday night walk around the hospital. Finally, Caden came around. He's like, I think I like the name Deacon. And that was a name I've had on my list like forever because I watched SWAT and one of the main characters' name was Deacon. So that was kind of how, and it was a character in Caden's video game named Deacon, and he kept hearing it, and he was like, wait, I like that name. It's like a good, strong name that's not like super common, but it's not also weird. It's not like all of the like ton names. I feel like everyone's naming their kid Braxton and Brixton and whatever else there is. So yeah, he came out, was a boy. And I got stitched. I had like a small grade 2 tearing, which wasn't actually that hard. I can't imagine getting stitched if you didn't get the epidural. That would be the worst part to me. But he was born at 7:17, and by the time everything was wrapped up, it was like 9:30. And I remember we were so hungry and the hospital food was closed. And we were like, what are we going to do? Like everywhere else is closed too. So we ordered Chick-fil-A. And Kaden had to go get it at like 10, but we didn't transfer rooms until like 11. So by the time we were actually eating it, it was cold. We like sipped on a milkshake because I was like, I want a milkshake. I had like fries, a sandwich, all the stuff. I ate fries in the milkshake, and then as soon as we were switching rooms, I got sick again, and I threw up the fries in the milkshake. By the time we could actually do anything and eat the meal, it was cold. We were exhausted. And the first night you have to stay awake because we didn't want him to go to the nursery. That was the worst. Honestly, that was the worst sleep I've had since I've had a baby. Was the night I gave birth, trying to stay awake. Kaden had the first shift and I took like an hour and a half nap. And then I was like, hey, it's like your turn. And I was like falling. He like trying to hold him and I'm like falling asleep. And I was stay awake. Like it was the worst. You're like so exhausted trying to stay awake. So yeah. That was the story. And finally 24 hours later got to go home. So we were at the hospital from 4:40 on Thursday until 11 on Saturday night.
And then you got home. And he's been
I know it was horrible dates
great.
because we had planned on you watching the dogs and then you had a wedding. And I was like, of course when Deacon comes. Like it all worked out well.
He just didn't want to meet me. It's fine.
Yeah. Just the day that I went in on Thursday. Luckily, my brother worked from 8 to 5, which was very abnormal. So he was able to watch. Kaden like left a couple times to go let the dogs out, which was fine because we live close to the hospital and everything. Yeah, it was a whirlwind. And ever since, we've just been like soaking it up. He's rapidly growing. He was born at 7 pounds, 12 ounces. We got a pediatrician appointment yesterday. He's 12 pounds, 7.5 ounces now. Dude, just a milk goblin. He just is always hungry. So he's getting the gains.
Yeah.
And he's the cutest little thing ever.
Creatine and protein, just
all the creatine I had while I was pregnant. My God, it really just paid off.
Yes.
But he was nice and small for birth, which was
he made that convenient.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
How have you felt since being home and just transitioning to like normal life and work and motherhood? Did you think it was going to be a different way than it is? Or do you feel like expectation-wise?
I took this approach in pregnancy. Dogs, great.
I was going to say, Enzo was doing his barking fit a second ago, so.
I took approach to pregnancy. I know like my content throughout pregnancy was like, hey, like this doesn't have to be hard if you like, obviously everyone has a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple clients who have either been pregnant or like in the second trimester, or obviously have kids now that really did. And I have a lot of friends who actually, funny enough, I have 3 friends that are all due in August. All 3 are girls. All 3 of them have been so sick, all the moms. And I'm like, that's really interesting. But one of them just like went into the 3rd trimester in the past like 2 weeks, and she's like, I feel like a brand new person. Like I'm so much better. Like I didn't have that in the 2nd trimester. But anyways, with parenting, I think a lot of people make you scared. Like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, parenting is so hard. Oh, the newborn trenches, like,
Or
oh, it's the
like the
worst.
just waits.
Just wait. I have a different approach to just wait. I actually think that parenthood is like super cool, and we put it off for so long. I'm sure my mom's actually visiting right now. She's probably listening. She's like, I told you should just have kids sooner. I'm glad we waited. Obviously, we were gonna wait longer, but we didn't. Well, we tried, but we didn't succeed. Um, it's awesome. I actually think it's so great. And obviously there will be there's challenging days for sure. There was one day specifically where I was like, you know what, today he was like, he just didn't stop crying for like 8 hours on and off, and then ended up sleeping for 7 hours straight. So like there's give and takes, right? Like, yes, getting up in the middle of the night isn't necessarily fun, but it's not like, I think when you have a mindset that's like, I get to be doing this versus like I have to, like I get to bond with Deacon when no one else is awake. Like Caden sleeps. I know some people get up with their, I'm like, I need you to sleep because if we're both tired, we've had that like since the beginning. I'm like, you sleep because if we're both awake with the baby, then we're both tired. And like, I'd rather have you at least have some energy. Like, I have to be awake. Um, and I think that's what I've just done throughout parenthood so far. There's obviously like bad days. Like, I'm not going to say that all of it's been sunshine and roses. For the most part, he's been super good baby. He's had obviously some fussy times. He's like in like a fussy phase right now, but even then I feel like it's just a matter of like trying to give him as much attention as we can and like finding time to play and just like feeding him a lot. So I think I've just approached it as like I get to be doing this versus like I have to be doing this, and like it's been super fun. Like I think it's so cool. You like we literally look at him all the time and we're like, how do we have like this is just the cutest thing of all time. He's just like the best thing ever. And like you just I don't know, it's something changes in you, I think, where you're like, wow, this is actually like so great. So I overall like I feel like I've been very thankful. I haven't had any like PPD symptoms or like feelings of like postpartum depression or any like anxiety, anything like that. Like I feel like it's just been pretty good. I think I also attribute that to like our winter has been so nice, like sunny. So just like getting outside and like also having help. Like Caden has been so wonderful. He hasn't stopped working the whole time. Like even those first couple weeks, he still was doing work because like mortgages don't stop. Like people still need houses. He's had like his assistant helping a lot and like help, and hasn't worked as much. But having his help, I think, has definitely helped. I like can't imagine our dogs are all on one. For not being able to hear each other. Um, I can't imagine like like moms who dads don't get any paternity leave and have to just go back to work. Like you are superwoman because I can't imagine that. So I think that I will attribute that to like having the help has helped me be super sane. But it is cool. I actually like used this example with a client. She was like, she's starting to like crash out a little bit. Like, all these changes are happening in my business, all these things are happening, and I'm like just really scared and don't like I'm just like, a lot of things are happening for her. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna attribute this to Deacon's fussy phase. Deacon has fussy phases for like 5 to 7 days. But after it, he learns a new skill. So like the last time he had a fussy phase, he came out of it and he was smiling and he was happy and he was actually like more attentive to us, like paying attention to us. And like, that's what you're going through. You're like going through your fussy phase and you're going to come out on the other end learning a new skill. And that's been really cool to watch for him. Is like, obviously the newborn stage was really nice because they literally do nothing. They just sleep all day and just look like little aliens. And you just get to like, I was like, how cool is it? You just like, people talk about the newborn trenches, but like, obviously we have a baby that didn't have a lot of like colic or anything like that, where he just sleeps and eats. And then like, we just lay on the couch and like get to hang out and chill all day. Like pretty cool. Outside of like wearing diapers, which hear me out, diapers on your period while you sleep. I'm going to do it from now on. I actually really enjoyed wearing diapers, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. It was a very nice experience. There's no dirty underwear. Like, you just wear a diaper all day. Which I had to do for about 4 weeks, but yeah, it's been nice. It's been also though, like, I am excited for him to be more alert and like, like, you know, to just start like understanding more and like being able to see who we are at like 6 months and actually be able to like not see blurriness. Obviously, it's not affecting him. Like he still like sees us in his presence and that kind of stuff. But really is the best.
Yay.
Never thought I'd say that. It's crazy. Crazy how a baby changes you.
I'm glad that's your review.
Yeah. I'm glad it's been a positive experience. And I think it is, obviously, there's babies, all different temperaments, but I think it also is what you make it out to be. Like, it is truly the mindset. Like, don't let all the bad things out on the internet of, like, you know, parenting ruined my life or whatever, like, kids ruined my life. Like, I think that it is truly what you make it. Like, I've taken him out a handful of times to the outdoor gym that we have. And obviously the summer will be a lot more challenging because we won't be working out outside in our backyard and I'll have to go to the gym. But like taking him with me to work out, like he gets to watch that and grow up seeing that and just like doing everything with your kid. Like they want to be involved even at 2 months. Like he wants attention. Like he wants to just be seen. And I think phones and the internet and everything has really ruined that for us. So I've even been able to be more present in my own life because I try to stay off of my phone when I'm with him as much as I can. Obviously, if he's sleeping, like I'll go on my phone, but yeah, it's been cool. You like see the world in a whole new light. So don't let people de-influence you. It is actually really freaking cool and your life doesn't have to end because you have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amen.
That's my review for now. He's not walking yet or talking back to me. So give it a couple months, he'll be walking. We joke about that. But yeah.
Well, I can give a review that he is a great baby.
He really is.
Great cuddler, great
10 out of 10 cuddling.
Great facial expressions now that he's smiling.
It is. It really is the best. When he just has his little teethless smile, he's like, It's the best. Truly is the best.
Learning a lot from my internship. It's great. Clocking my hours.
Chris had a big internship day at the Open on Sunday. Like,
if I can get a baby to sleep in my arms, I think that is the best accomplishment that I can possibly.
I mean, you looked so natural. We were in line getting waters, and the guy behind us was like, "Oh, mom." He was so fucking weird. But he really did think that Chris was the mom. So internship is going well. She just looked like a total natural.
I had to awkwardly be like, not the mom. Not the
like,
mom. He said it one too many times before I just had to find it. Like, it's one thing to say it once and you're like, yeah, like I don't really know you. But when you're in like the third and fourth time of me calling me his mother, I'm like, actually, and it's funny actually, because right before we got in line, I said to you, like I saw a TikTok that was like, if you ever see two girls and a baby, the one who's holding the baby is not the mother. Like, it's just a thing. It's like, it's the cool aunt. That's what it is. And then we get in line and literally this guy like was convinced 4 times that I was the mother. I was like, I'm like, to be fair, Kelsey and I have dark features. So her dark featured child is obviously going to be hard to have that. But no, she did the hard work. I'm just
I know. I started taking offense to it. Like, because multiple people are like, oh, cute baby. Like, and as you're holding it, I'm like, oh, thank you. It was me.
You should wear a shirt that says like, I'm the mother.
I'm the mother.
Anytime someone else is holding your baby, it's like, but I'm the mother.
I did that. Thank you. Those are my features.
That's so funny. No, he's so great though, and such a cutie, and
yes,
you do a good job with him.
Yes.
How do you feel entrepreneurship wise, easing back into things? What has been the hard?
I think
maybe the best and worst of it so far.
Yes, I've had so many different times where I'm like, I don't ever want to work again. Like, I just look at him like, I literally don't want to take my eyes off of him. I can like hear right now, like Kaden and my mom like talking to him, and I'm like, oh. But I actually had this conversation with my lactation specialist, and she was like, do you need something for yourself? Like, you have to. And like, I give props to people who are stay-at-home moms. I think before being a mom, I was like, that's just lame. You don't like do anything else other than like be with your kids all day. And like, I get it now, but I also know I'll need something for myself. And so at first, there's been just so many times throughout my like leave where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to like go back. And now it's becoming more real where like in a week and a half, I will be like technically fully back. Now, the cool part is I obviously can make my own schedule to a certain extent where I can time block in time where I'm like, hey, this is Deacon time. Like, I won't have people who have calls. And like, it just, that is different now where I'm also having to learn. I'm even learning that like I've slowly been taking back on clients versus taking them all back in a day to kind of get myself an ease in. But that has been interesting because I'm like, oh, I can get this to you. Like before, I was like, I'll get this to you by end of day today. And now I'm learning like if I'm giving someone feedback on like a project or something, I'm like, hey, I'll have it to you in the next 48 hours. And like I'm trying to be more realistic with myself where having more boundaries with work. Like also telling myself like, hey, I have 4 hours today to work on projects so that I can just be more efficient with my time. And that's the whole point of entrepreneurship has been like we get to create our own schedules. Obviously with you and I it's different because we're business partners and we obviously have to be at some points together like right now or on our weekly meetings together. Or have like meetings with all of our coaches every week. So like there are certain times where my time is needed, but I'm also learning how to use my time more efficiently and knowing I can obviously like how much stuff I can get done on nap time or when Kaden has to watch Deacon. And so we had to have a conversation after I like time blocked out my whole life. Also, a hard part of Arizona is we don't do time daylight savings. So
It's all going to change in a
literally, I did my whole schedule in the first 2 weeks of being back. We're still on MST and then we switched back. And so my schedule doesn't change a whole lot. Now that you're here, it's a little nicer where like some of our meeting times maybe won't change
Yeah.
too drastically, but like you also have stuff with WWBA and we have other stuff. And so it is like a slight shift. But all that to say, I time blocked out my whole calendar to have like times for sales calls where like either I'll put him down for a nap or like Caden will have him and we talked about like Mondays where Caden is trying to just do some different things in his business. And I'm like, hey, is it possible that you don't do those calls on Monday and you actually do them on Friday when my load is a lot less because my load is much higher on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so I think it just did require some of that communication because we are trying to not like have a nanny for now. We are recognizing that when he's older and moving and even when we have 2 kids that a couple of days a week we will have to have help. Like that wasn't always the goal. Like that was initially our goal. And then I'm like, you know what? We can do it. Let's figure out if we can. But we're quickly realizing like Mondays, Tuesdays are for sure a day we'll need help. Side note on that, it's funny we were talking about this because people like, hey, do you need help watching Deacon? We're like, that's not what we need help with. Can you like watch our black lab and then also clean our house? Like Deacon is not the problem right now.
Yeah.
Burrow is
Burrow needs a lot.
Burrow is the problem. So Burrow gets shipped to daycare on Mondays.
Yeah,
But
at least he's got a safe place. It's like
yeah,
the
he
same
does.
way kids have daycare, like
And Burrow
dogs
comes
need
back
daycare
so
too.
tired. It's so great.
Hmm.
He gets out the energy we cannot with him on daycare. So yeah, we've just really been working on our schedule and obviously it's gonna shift. Like I think I have this idea in my head of what things are gonna look like. And I've actually generously given myself more time throughout the day with Deacon and it'll probably come with me working a little bit more when he officially goes down. And we also just aren't really on a sleep schedule with him yet. Like I've been trying to slowly sleep train him, but like we don't have times where we actually set him down for a nap or like we do anything. And so we have to really like I've been trying to over the next couple of weeks trying to get some routine, but I've honestly been like I think I need to be back in work. It's kind of like when I was an athlete, like college and high school, I always had a busier schedule when it was volleyball season. Like I loaded my first semester up with like 18 credits while playing volleyball because I knew that like I could have more structure. I would be like on top of it. When I have too much free time, it's the Wild West. So I'm just recognizing it will take a little bit of time to get him into a routine. And obviously the first year comes with so many leaps and bounds where sleep schedules do change and needs change and things happen so rapidly that we'll just have to shift. But I felt so much better time blocking my schedule and having it like literally, if you looked at my schedule, you'd be like, that's a really busy day. But it's like, no, I just make sure
Time
that there's,
blocked.
yes, it's time blocked. It says free so people can book things in with me. And so I think it's obviously it's gonna shift. It's gonna be tough. And I think the biggest thing is me just getting back into a routine where I'm not with him all day. And that will be the hardest part because I'm like, literally obsessed with him. I also have to feed him. So scheduling in those times, but making sure there's like always milk ready for a bottle if like Caden needs to feed him. And there's just a lot of things that I think I'll figure out when I have to do it, but I feel better now. Um, we'll see once I get back into the full swing how that feels. But I think it's just a matter of like doing it and knowing that like entrepreneurship and coaching is something for me. And I eventually will be in school. So like I don't like I'll have more free time eventually.
Yeah.
Just the first like 3 years I won't.
Don't worry. We'll have a nanny share at least to help
That'd
the
be
both
great.
of us.
Everything will be great.
Because I
That'd
will
be
need a
fun.
nanny, that is for sure. With Kenneth's unfortunate schedule. Go figure, healthcare workers not getting paternity leave. I'm like,
Crazy.
crazy.
So wild.
Yeah, it's the Wild West out there, that's for sure. But no, I'm excited for you to, like, as you learn more and go through different experiences, talk about it here on the podcast and just kind of be like, here's what it is. Because I feel like every mother has a different experience. Like no one is going to have the same, but I think it's important to have like positive stories out there. And I think just have someone who leads themselves maybe a little differently than others do in the best way to like show, hey, here's how this is possible. Because it can be scary. I know I'm right there with them. So
That's been a big thing that I think has come up throughout this process for me is like I didn't ever think I wanted to be the person who like talked about motherhood all the time and talked about like all that stuff. But I realize it is something like I've become quickly passionate about because I think a lot of moms think like, I mean, obviously like the state of how much daycare costs and even just sending your kid to daycare, I like have trust issues. I'm like, if someone's watching my child, I want it to be here or at school because I've just heard a lot of like horror stories about daycare, but also daycare is atrociously expensive. So I understand when people are like, well, I can't work because it's like I'm just going to make the same amount the daycare costs.
I was going to say it's basically like paying rent at that point.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
Crazy.
So I do understand staying home, but I also want to encourage moms that like you still can coach, you still can run a business, you still can do the things like that's my goal because I think social media we see into the lives of so many other people and like you said it's different for everyone, right? Like some people do choose to just not work anymore on any capacity, but I also want to show that like there's a different side to motherhood where like it doesn't have to be what everyone says and warns you about. Like it can actually be genuinely enjoyable. Obviously with hard stuff I can't say that it's always fun and I've only been a mom for 2 months, but my goal, I'm very hard-headed and I'm very stubborn and I will try to prove you differently, but it won't always be the case as my birth story was not what I necessarily planned. So
Right.
we're always flexible, but we have a plan and idea in mind.
Hey, and it's like the rough draft. There's the rough draft to everything, and then
rough draft.
you go from there essentially.
Yes, precisely. So I guess I'll wrap up the podcast by I have 2 spots on my roster open. I'm just going to leave it there. As I'm coming back, I will officially, as this podcast is dropping, be back to work in like 5 days. And so those spots will start on the 23rd of February and beyond. So I will be keeping my roster very, very close knit and small and specifically taking on coaches. It'll be small for now until I get a handle on what coaching looks like. And we're just making some really cool improvements to ACA that we're in the process of over the next couple days that we're excited about. And I think it's going to continue to serve coaches even better. And we're just like constantly making improvements, which is awesome. So myself and our coaches right now, a couple of our assistant coaches are taking on ACA clients. So if you are a coach that is wanting to level up in 2026, whether you're a mom or not, you're just a coach, you want to run a business, you want to like feel like you're more put together and actually prioritize yourself, your own health and fitness and nutrition, or your own like health and fitness goals, but also making sure you're providing those to your clients as well and like actually providing high level service that gets clients really, really bought in. You're tired of feeling spastic and chaotic and all over the place, like you're just shooting blanks at a dartboard, then let's chat because it doesn't have to be like that.
It doesn't have to be this way forever.
Be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can crush it. So would love to chat more about that. feel
Hell
free to
yeah.
slide in my DMs.
Slide on in.
Slide
Yeah.
on in.
Excited to be back to the weekly podcast for you guys.
Woo!
And we'll be coming in with more, education topics. So I'm excited for this year. But as always, if you guys have any suggestions, let us know and we'll take them and chat about them.
Yeah, more client case studies this year too, like we started to do last year.
Absolutely.
Cool, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We're excited for another year of Beyond the Coach, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.